Good.
You're going to get caught.
Even when the lesson is over.
The culture is more and more liberal.
Nice.
All your denominations are more and more liberal than the Catholic. Like, for example, what is hell? Some people teach that there's no hell. Everybody's going to be sick. Some people teach that you're annihilated. I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you guys. Welcome back.
Yeah.
It does look lovely.
But he actually stayed and listened to
I think it was great.
Yeah, like you used to have it that way, pictures. It makes you look dumber.
He understood.
No, I just had it done. I just had it done.
Well, to keep it that way is hard. It looks fun.
No, probably not.
Change your
You
color.
look younger.
Colored it.
So he was pumped for it.
All right, let's get a vote on the road.
It's colored, but when my roots grow out, they're really dark, and then all my sparkles are coming out like crazy.
Good. Listen to the link.
I like that. You pay to have that
That's
done.
great.
Yeah, but you pay to have that done. Streak it and stuff. Some people pay hundreds of dollars for that.
Well, I found someone that's less now, because I used to pay a lot of money. So I found someone that does it for a little bit less. But I didn't have a pet though, I just had it colored.
Have
You
Chad cut it.
notice.
Have Chad cut it.
I gotta tell Chad, because he didn't even notice. I had to say, you notice something different? And it's like,
Did he say that?
no. No, I said, do you know?
Mary. How are you?
2 hours. I said, how are you?
Good.
Papa, how are you?
Good.
I said, do you notice anything different? He goes, oh, did you get worried about it? I'm like, really?
Well, it looks very nice. I just hope it's not a lot of money to keep it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's because I have about 50% gray right here and right here on the sides.
Everything look
But the
kinda
back
nice.
is like only 90%.
Doesn't it look kind of nice having it streaked? I mean, people pay to have it
I
streaked.
know, but you know, it's one blob, so it just looks
Can't you get
kind
something
of.
just to,
Yeah, I like it here. You did it, and it's really straight. That's all I'm doing.
I would think they'd have something.
Well, see, I came here and I said, guess what? I came up to Neil, and you know what the first thing he said to me was?
So pretty.
He said,
You're so
he said,
pretty.
oh, look at your hair, that's really nice.
Yeah.
I said, I had 2 hours before I finally asked you, do you notice?
Since Chad 30 years ago, she slapped.
Because he sees you beautiful no matter what you do with your hair.
That's it. Come on.
Your hair is growing back.
I know. It starts to cotton ball on me. It just like fluffs out until someone laughs and then I cut it.
Hey, Chad,
Huh?
George won't be
Hey,
here.
you.
I know. I sent him the link.
How are you?
And Julia,
I'm okay.
George, can you send my wife the link to the board? Yes. Oh, thank you. We're running out of gas already. Could you get the link from him and then send it on? And
do you have
then,
my number, John?
No, you have to do it.
hello, how are you? Yeah, okay.
You good with that light?
Yeah, will you watch the camera and make sure that everything looks good? And flip it over to Wirecast. I think I got it going on the web already.
What's up, man? Let me bounce that wire.
Doing good, brother.
Hey, thank you for that spaghetti.
You're streaming.
Oh, my wife.
That was
I
really
thought
good.
that was beans. It was
No, whatever it was, it was good.
really good, yeah.
All right, we're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're off.
All right, let's say a prayer. Would you like to do that?
Sure. Father, we love you so much. We're so grateful for our salvation. And thank you for the precious gift of your word. Wow. Your word can just soften our hearts and move our hearts, inspire us. Your word is like treasure, God. It's so good. Thank you for your word. Just pray you lead this discussion. Just pray our hearts are impacted. I pray we're deeply moved and encouraged spiritually. And just pray you help us all live like Jesus, God. Help us to love you more and be more and more grateful for you and be more and more obedient. We thank you so much for answering this prayer right now. Thank you so much. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. So, my job tonight is to have everyone in this room decide to change their lives. Now, and I'm not talking a minor, I'm not going to eat too much or too little, but make a an actual valuable change to something that is either haunting you or something that you would actually want to do, something that you might have a regret about, or something that is harming you, be it a lack of fitness or a temper or a relationship that's bad. I am talking about making an important change and deciding to do it by the end of tonight.
Amen. Come on, Chad.
Amen. Come on, bro.
Sounds just like my prayer, bro. Amen.
Yeah, there we go.
Amen.
And you go, okay, can I convince you to do it? Right? Because it is going to take some convincing to make a noticeable and long overdue change. And I'm going to request that this change be permanent. So I don't want you to start exercising, get a couple days in, and then start to poop out.
New Year's resolution. Aren't those made to be broken?
No. This isn't a change that's made to be broken. So, what is a change that you guys want to make?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
I mean, we're talking about something really hard and really important.
Okay, you starting with yourself, Chad?
Oh.
Yes. So, the first thing I want to change is I want to start getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning.
I object.
And I want to build a passive income of at least $1 a month that's going to be sustainable. So, that was my New Year's resolution, and I've only been able to create a negative passive income right into the first 7 months. And so in the last 3 months, 4 months, I am going to work to make at least $1 while I sleep.
Nice.
Yeah. That's my goal. And I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning to do it. Every day.
From the
There goes my sleeping in.
Yeah. No, and I'm not talking about just doing it on the weekday. I'm talking about I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. every day for the foreseeable future.
You're just saying that so I go to bed at an appropriate
No.
hour.
Well, I've been freaking out about it already. Trying to get into bed early. It's not been
And
working.
do what? What are you gonna do it for?
I'm going to build
What
a
do you have to-
company
what do you
that
have
makes
to
me
do
at
with
least
this
$1 a month.
What did
That's
you
the
do
goal.
with this retreat?
Well, the retreat is kind of motivating me to do this.
Come on, bro.
Okay.
Enlighten us.
So I went first. What are you guys' goal? Mine is not a minor deal.
It's gonna have to be big. And then when I heard it, I didn't think it was big.
5 a.m. every day.
It doesn't seem so big. But hey, man, maybe
Okay.
it's for you.
You get up now.
I get up at about 7.
Oh, I'm so jelly.
Yeah.
All right, I guess it's big.
Yeah. So we're talking 2 hours earlier every day.
I want to change to have 2 more hours of sleep a day.
It's got to have a positive impact on your life. I guess
Beauty sleep.
What else? Who else wants to say out loud a real thing they want to change in their lives?
I've been working with, Gary, going through all these tests I've had. At first I was bitter having to do all the tests and waste your money and co-pays and all, because you're gonna have to do the surgery anyway.
Yep.
And, but I want to turn it over to, I'm working for God now, and God wants me to do this. And when I did that, and Gary was helping me on that, once I turned it over, okay, God wants me to do this for him, I'll do it. And if I can't pay it, he'll take care of that, and I'm changing my attitude at least to get through it. I'm almost through my
Right.
Tuesday, we're gonna do the thing, and I quit bitching as much, and I'm more or less just accepting it and telling God, please let me get through it and be a man and not cry. And
That's right.
after that, I don't know what I'll do, but when I get through that, maybe just keep doing that in my life. Maybe the hard stuff be for Jesus and not worry about me or why it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very important and impactful goal to have a great attitude as you're facing cancer. Right? That's what you're saying. Is you're not going to go in all the other directions, but I'm going to have a great attitude as I'm beginning the process of dealing with cancer.
Right. It's easier, I feel better.
Right? Right? That is super. What else? Be bold.
But I'm not gonna get up at 5 o'clock.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be bold.
Come on, bro.
I brought me a bike,
Yeah?
and I decided that I want to start losing weight and exercising and build up like I was before.
Yep.
So I think my goal is to exercise every day
Every day.
for at least a couple of hours in the daytime, and also ride my bike every day.
Awesome. That is a very great goal. So every day
Oh, I've already started
exercise.
riding. I've already started riding my bike.
Yeah. So everyday exercise. That's
Yeah.
huge. Go ahead.
So I started to learn Mandarin. So
Wow.
it's just being really like, just being very consistent on that, and just knowing that I will be in a sister household with more than 4 Asians, Mandarin speaking sisters.
Wow.
It's just the entire time I was in GLC, they were speaking to me in Mandarin. I'm like, speak up to me a little bit slower. And just being also part of a Chinese Bible talk, it's just gonna be, I'm so happy that it's definitely all nations.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So that's the ultimate goal?
Yeah, so your goal is to learn Mandarin.
Correct. I mean, it's gonna take time. It's gonna
Yeah. Still, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Anyone? Dave?
Gonna sound funny. A big mouth bass.
So
What?
your goal is to catch a big mouth bass?
To be a big mouth bass.
Ah,
Open up my knowledge and share my faith. That
Oh,
Send me quiet.
bold.
instead of being a quiet faith, we open up and share my faith more. I got a lady now. She just said, "Man, I need to go to your church, but I work till 8 o'clock and I work on Sundays." But sounds really cool, Dave. Man, I need it. I just started this new job. I need to stay here, but man, I need. My wife. What you do is you call her up and see to get some of the sisters to study when she's off work.
yeah,
She's open, man. She said, I'm gonna get some studies going on. But wow.
great. Okay, so now we've thrown some stuff out there, and if you are inspired and you were just a little bit too afraid to raise your hand, then as soon as you get brave, raise your hand, and then we're going to take.
Come on, Nate.
Yeah, that's the goal
That was
that
cool.
we're going to do by the end of this night.
I made the decision actually last night,
Mm-hmm.
not to be a grump,
Oh, wow.
No more grumpiness.
because my sister drives me totally wacko at times. And I have decided I'm not going to be nasty, I'm not going to have a very quick
Yeah.
reply. Usually it's a pretty good one, but nevertheless.
Come on,
It's not helpful to the relationship.
So I'm going to be a little more patient with her.
Awesome.
I've been losing my patience.
Awesome.
So I've decided, I started this evening.
Yes.
It was a wee bit hard earlier in the day because I just more or less made up my mind.
Yep.
But by the evening, I said, this is it, I've got to do it, because after all, although she's a year and 5.5 months younger than I am, she's not as well as I am.
Yeah.
She's
She's
had triple bypass 4.5, 5 years ago.
Wow.
Gallbladder removed, God knows, stents put in her legs because
Wow.
of back, veins. Not able to walk very well. I mean, she kind of scuffles along, and do what she's supposed to do to make it a little better, which
Right.
also made me a little,
Irritated.
yeah. So anyway, I have to make the decision.
Awesome. Great. And it's a great segue because you were frustrated because she wasn't doing what she should be doing.
Right. And she says things that really, I think twice, I go, wait a minute, what was that?
Right.
Are you really thinking straight? Dr. Adcock says, walk, not in the house. I mean, everybody has to walk in the house.
Yes.
But get outside and have the bumps and the lumps. Even if you take a walk over here, whatever, you're exercising these that you have to stand up on,
That's right.
right? Okay.
Perfect. So I have 3 quotes for you. This is going to be the foundation of your change. And the first quote is from Socrates. And he says, to be is to do. The second quote is from Plato. To do is to be. And the third quote is from Frank Sinatra. And it is do, be do, be do. Yeah, I got you. And so what we see here, and I think this is one of the major things that stops us, is we don't know how to be an awesome person, an awesome disciple, an awesome husband, wife, person that does whatever you want to do. And the trick of the matter is you will never be that. You will never speak Chinese unless you start doing it.
Okay, amen.
And so it is absolutely essential that that person that you want to become, you are never going to be motivated enough to be that person. You have to take a step every single day against your feelings and against your thoughts and against your history, against the pattern of your life to become that person you want to become. And you go, okay, well, do we have any examples of that in the Bible? Well, let's turn our Bibles over to Acts 9:5. And what we have here, while you guys are going there, is the second most important moment in human history. Right? We obviously know what the first most important thing is. That's the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. But the second most important thing is the conversion of Paul. Because he is a guy just like us. Now, yes, he was a hard worker and he did all of these things, but he was converted in a particular way. And I will read.
Acts what now?
Acts 9:5. And Paul, of course, was persecuting the disciples, even to the point of being witness to their death. So good intention isn't going to get you where you want to go. And it says in Acts 9:5, "Who are you, Lord?" Obviously, he knew who he was talking to. "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting." Side note, how are you persecuting Christ?
Ooh, come on, bro.
Well,
Right? Go ahead.
when you mistreat God's people, you really treat Jesus that way.
That's right.
If you're loving and serving and giving to God's people, you're doing the same thing for Jesus.
That's right. And go ahead.
I think one of the things is like what he's saying here, being persecuting Jesus, is when we don't, as disciples, we don't do what we're supposed to do as disciples.
That's right.
Like we make excuses to give, we make excuses not to be at church, we make excuses like, oh, I'm tired, I can't make it tonight, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. We make a lot of excuses.
That's right.
But my thing is this: what would Jesus, if Jesus was here now, saying, in order for you to come in, you got to give me 100% sold out?
That's right.
Would we say, okay, yeah, I'm sold out, I'm going to do it, or we're going to do like everyone else does? Oh, I'm tired, I don't feel like coming tonight.
Right.
Or I just don't feel like giving. I don't feel like doing anything to help other people.
And what you're saying is super important. So we all know what we're supposed to do. And then between standing up out of bed or downloading the lesson to start speaking Chinese, or taking the deep breath as your sister does one more knucklehead thing, right? Or on and on and on, what we do is we don't feel like it, right? And so now we have something very important to understand, is you are never going to feel like doing the things you're supposed to do.
Correct.
Ever. right? Actually, our minds are exactly the opposite. You're going to feel like not doing it. When I wake up tomorrow morning, I am really going to feel like not getting out of bed. Period. Then I'm not going to jump out motivated. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And if I wait until my feeling takes me, I'm not going to get up.
Yeah.
You're not going to speak another language. You're not going to share your faith. You're not going to ever feel like exercising. No matter how fit you get. You talk to those people that are super good at their fitness, and they'll tell you right to your face, I just really don't feel like doing this right now. But they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, bro.
And this is the thing that you've got to understand, is you cannot give yourself time to talk yourself out of it, or to feel like not doing it.
Radical.
Period.
Starting is always the hardest step.
Yeah.
Starting is the hardest.
And if you feel inspired, you gotta do something right immediately. Well, like, I always heard preachers say that, who's your Lord? Is Jesus your Lord? Or are your feelings your Lord?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Yeah, that's right.
good,
Way of seeing.
like living that way, you know, it's not easy, but like, seriously, who's your Lord? You know, your feelings?
Yeah, that's
It
right.
says, sorry.
No, yeah, it's good.
No.
So let's look at the second most important moment in human history. Right? Jesus asked, "You are persecuting him. Whom are you persecuting?" And then he said, "Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must feel." Is that what it says?
No.
Oh, sorry. You will be told what you must think.
No.
No? It doesn't say,
Must
does
do.
it? It says you will be told what you must do. Do. Right? And here we see how somebody goes from walking a life of persecution to then starting to move in another direction because they focus on doing only. And do you think he felt like this? Think of the embarrassment of Paul.
Yeah.
Right? One, he is leaving a whole group of people that thinks he's doing the exact right thing. Think what they thought of him. He was blinded. You thought he felt like being led in shame?
Wow.
No. He stood up and was like the primary guy. And so he put his thinking aside, which was persecuting. He put his feelings aside, which is total embarrassment and shame, and became a disciple.
Wow.
There's not a lot of thinking going on right there. Dave?
It kind of reminds me of Yoda.
Do or do not, there is no try.
There you go. Very impressive.
I feel like I was watching something today, a preacher preaching, and he said something that made sense that actually challenged me.
Mm-hmm.
Where he said that, you know, we make sure we get to work on time.
That's right.
We watch TV whenever we feel like it. He says, why don't you turn that around and start reading the Bible instead of watching TV?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you make sure you're on time for church service on Sunday, midweeks? You know, like he was challenging the church to say, you guys be on time for work. You guys will never be late for work, because you know what happens when you're late for work? You get fired.
Consequence.
Some jobs will fire you for
Right.
being late too many times. But why do we always be late for church? Like,
Right.
we know church starts at a certain time. Why can't we be early?
That's right.
You're early. You're about at least a half an hour early for work.
Yeah.
Why can't we be like a half an hour? And that kind of challenged me on being on time for everything that happens to do with the church.
Come on, John.
But the one thing that I see in my life is I'm only motivated to do one thing, and that is to be comfortable.
Ooh.
Do I have motivation for anything else? Do any of you have a motivation to do anything else but be comfortable?
Wow.
So that means you want to be a couch potato.
Well, so does motivation count if it is leading all of us in the wrong direction? as a pattern. Does it?
Yeah, I think it does.
Should I wait to be motivated to go and sit on the couch? That's motivation. Wait to be motivated to eat a nice dinner. Wait to be motivated for a vacation. Wait to be motivated to go to bed. Why are you motivated to go to bed? You're never motivated to get up. Right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Because motivation only wants comfort.
Correct.
And guess what? Comfort is destroying the person that you want to become.
The creativity.
It's destroying the creativity.
Correct.
It's destroying the impact. It's destroying your health. It's destroying your critical thinking. It's destroying every single thing you're falling down on. A motivation for comfort.
Yeah.
Right? Has anyone else been motivated by any other thing?
Oh, I mean, I'm motivated by comfort, but I think when I read my Bible and meditate on it, fill my heart and mind with God's Word, I feel empowered to do what's right. When I'm prayerful, I'm on my knees praying, I wake up fired up and happy, and you know, it's easy to share your faith.
Right.
But if you don't spend that time with God, you know, like I feel like this, like any virtue, any opportunity to do a good deed.
Yeah.
If you're close to God, you're like energized, you're full of joy and peace,
Yeah.
and you got power, and you just jump all over it. You got conviction about things, you know. But if you're like giving into your sin, or maybe just watching TV for 3 or 4 hours, when you see an opportunity, you're gonna be lazy about it.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like you know, you see an opportunity to give or serve somehow, and you're close to God, you're gonna jump all day.
Right?
Yeah.
Being close to God changes everything.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not really a detailed person because I like to see things like the bigger picture. So it's funny, right when I was coming this way, my mom said, I remember at 18 years old, she migrated to the States.
Mhm.
And she was seeing the bigger picture of seeing her family succeed.
Yes.
So all she was thinking is just that was her motivation on the future, and everything in the middle was the byproduct of just continuing to focus on that.
Mhm.
So I think just that example will continue on, and that's how I see it. So for me, it will be the same thing. I want a certain future, so just, you know, it can be spiritual, but just keeping your eyes focused on Christ, what are in-house steps in between to achieve little by little. So and that's my motivation.
Yep.
And sometimes you can't wait until motivation hits you. You have to create your own motivation.
Right.
Because you don't always have somebody beside you.
Right.
So if somebody isn't your friend anymore and that's the person that's motivating you, does that mean you're gonna be stuck?
Right.
So we also have to be our own motivation to a certain extent and just rely on God, because He's the only one that's going to be constant in your life. So that's how I see it. But
Right.
you always have to motivate yourself. If not, you're going to be stuck. And time goes really fast. When you least expect it, 20,
Yeah.
30 years will pass, and you haven't done nothing to your life. Guess what? Time can't be reversed.
Right. And answer me this: how comfortable has it been to sell all of your stuff?
It's been hard.
How comfortable has it been to make the choice to move to Australia?
I felt that part was like the easiest decision in my life. And it was it's weird because I just told my mom I was really happy and I was really proud of myself. Like, Mom, I sold 3/4 of all of my possessions. And I'm only have 2 luggage. That's all I'm bringing. And then my leader's like, okay, narrowed it down to 1 luggage. And I'm like, no, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes we see certain struggle, the short-term struggle. But then if you only see the short-term struggle, you won't have that long-term success.
That's
so
right.
that's sometimes what we have to see. It's like to motivate us. Sometimes,
awesome.
you know, do we want to wake up every morning at 7 o'clock, work 40 hours a week? No, but that next week check is going to be nice.
Right.
You're going to pay the bills and you're going to eat something other than 7-Eleven food.
Yeah.
So that's how
Whoa,
it works.
that's probably not even cheap.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that a scripture that comes to my mind as we're talking about all this is make every effort to enter that narrow door. So, like, our motivation should be to live for God, right? To please Him in every way we live, right? But also, His word says, make every effort to enter that narrow door.
Mm-hmm. Well, and not to cut you off, but that is a perfect segue into the next scripture.
Oh, come on, Chad.
And I am going to read it in the Message, so just listen. It's Acts 2, 38, 39. Peter said, change your life. Turn to God and be baptized, each one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, so your sins are forgiven. Receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. The promise is targeted to you and your children, but also to all who are far away, whomever, in fact, our Master will invite. He went on in this vein for a long time, urging them over and over, get out while you can. Get out of this sick and stupid culture. Now, what is this sick and stupid culture that he's talking about? It's the same one that's happening right now.
The world.
Yeah, I know the world, but what specifically?
Me. Business. All just for what I can get out of it.
It's a selfishness, yes. I would say that it's a culture of comfort.
Oh, come on, bro.
That's exactly what it is. And then it's putting in the motivation to be comfortable. And what does comfortable look like? It's being entertained. It's being full. It's being without worry.
Lazy.
It's having the ability to not work as a goal. Right? This is our culture. It's a culture of not doing.
Yeah.
Really, it's a culture of not feeling and not thinking. This is the stupid culture that we need to escape. And it's the exact same thing that Jesus or Peter said right here, change your life.
Yeah.
Change your life. That's how he started, and 3,000 people did that very thing and started a movement. Right? That's what happened. That's the beginning of the church. Right there on that speech. So they took up the calling to be people that do things. It's so important, because are we those people? Are we the people that do? Forget talent. Forget understanding. Forget your fears and your failures and all of that anxiety that's in you.
Yeah.
Are you a person that does it? Do. Right? Who do you want to be? Do the things that make that person. See how powerful that is?
Come on, bro.
You can be anything you want. You just need to do it. Be a Nike commercial. Just do it.
Hi, I'm new.
Hey.
I'm Mitch's friend from school.
Hi, Mitch friend.
My motivation, more so the thing that keeps me disciplined, is this thing from the 90s where it was like this little animated children's like Bible study cartoon. But in the cartoon, this little kid at the end, he's standing in front of God, and the last line of the cartoon is, "Well done, my good and faithful servant."
Yes.
That's my discipline and motivation right there. It's like everything I do in life, I want that. I want to get to heaven, and like nothing else needs to be said besides, "Well done, my good and faithful
that's
servant."
right.
I'll be like, "Cool, thanks."
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, that's exactly what all of us want to hear, not only from God, which is the ultimate, completion, but I want to hear that from my wife. Good job. Look at what you've done, right? I want to hear it from my boss. I want to hear it from my friend. I want to hear it from those people that I'm impacting, right? And what are all those? Those are things you do, right? Not think about, not feel about. And guess what? Doing is terrible. It's uncomfortable, right? It's unpleasant. It's uncertain. it can make you look like a fool, right? You're vulnerable, right? When you put yourself out there, and then it's like, oh my gosh, some people can poke holes in the little painting that I made, right? Go ahead.
It's another motivation. Just what he was saying.
Yeah.
Is that in the scripture, you know, where it said the book was open, and if your name's not found in the book, and that's another motivation to say, wow, you know, am I going to do the right thing to live according to His way to make sure that my name is in the book?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a motivation to be there, because it's like you think about a lot of stuff that we do, and how we are as human beings. We like the simple things, so we make excuses for the simple things instead of realizing that. Think about it. If we live according to His way, what could be the difference? Yes, you might have hard times, you might have good times, but the thing is, you're going to have abundance of His love that you can give to anyone.
That's right.
And that makes it easier for me to get along with you or you or you. And even if we have difficulties, we can still work them out in love.
Right.
But if we don't have that, if you're not built on Christ, you're not going to have that love for each other.
Right.
We're always going to have different things. It's like what she just said. She could have just went off on her sister, but because she says, you know, I'm with God, that's not how God is going to view me if I do that.
Come on, Anna.
So she said, you know, I'm going to take a different approach.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because she's a disciple. If we think like that, if we say, well, wait a minute, hold on, let me not argue with someone. Let me just take it back a little bit and realize how to approach it. But I see that my life, if I'm doing certain things, like I got my friends and people who are around me who don't believe in God, but now starting to ask me questions because they see how I am.
Right.
Like I got the worst guy who left as a disciple, who said he wanted to come to church, but he's not ready to become a disciple again, but he's like willing to come to church. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude, you said you don't want to have nothing to part of it, but what's changed your mind? I'm just thinking, no, there's a little bit more, but he's not willing to tell me. So I realized we can have an impact on people if we start realizing the urgency of what we do and how we do it.
Yeah.
Like you say, do.
And one of the things that what you're talking about is very important is we are being prompted, right? Be it you want to call it an intuition, a gut reaction, knowing what we should be doing, a hunch. There is what's in us that's saying, hey man, it's time to start doing this. And then, just like your example, they think about it.
Yeah.
They're not sure about it. They don't want to commit to it. They don't want to fail. I'm saying forget all of that. If you're prompted, just start doing it.
Yeah.
Period. Just start doing it. That prompt in you, just start doing it.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. This is really good discussion about actually being a man or a woman of action and getting something done, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mitch, what's your friend's name?
This is James.
James, good name. I really like what you said because it fits so well with what Chad's talking about.
Yeah.
Because that's the parable of the talents. You guys remember?
Yeah.
Like the guy had 5 talents, and the master went off on a long trip for a long time. The guy doubled it. Went to work at once. He doubled it. And then there was a guy at 2, I think, Dave, right?
2 talents.
And he doubled it too.
Yeah.
But the third guy, he didn't do anything at all.
That's right. It's a perfect example.
And then, like, you want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant.
That's funny because
that's what my wife. She starts saying.
Aaron did. That was the lesson Sunday. Remember, he wrote that scenario.
I know Chris talks about that sometimes.
Yeah.
But then, what he said, that's what I'm bringing up. What he said to that last guy was, you wicked, lazy servant.
Yes.
He didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Think of it if we had a little sign at the bottom of our TV that said wicked lazy. And it was at the bottom of the TV screen to where we'd have to look down at it every once in a while. Who here has a clock behind the television? Well, we don't want that, right?
That's funny.
Think about it, you know? But these are sucking our life away. Go ahead.
I keep my Bible on top of my laptop.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
If I want to watch Netflix, I have to move literally the Word of God.
Brilliant.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Wow, I like that.
Okay, so I went to the GLC.
Trick was
That was a doing thing, very expensive. And the one thing that impacted me, because people are, asking me what impacted me, and this is what impacted me this year. It's something different. There was a person that sold their house and left their business to move to LA to train to be a minister.
Wow.
And he had 2 children. Right? And he wasn't the only person that did that. There was another person that gave their life savings to help support the Manila mission team. They saved their whole life and then gave it. There was another person that was reinstated after they were brought out of the ministry. That means they did all of the work and rebuilt the trust after they publicly messed up. Think about that. And then they were embraced for humility. There was another person that was restored after they had an affair and it ruined their marriage.
Yeah.
And it was a leader in the church. And stood up and said, "I'm sorry. Will you forgive me?"
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. There was another individual that sold almost everything they had and raised $5,000 to go out on the mission field. Right? I think we know who that is. But she isn't the only one that did that. How many mission teams have gone out of Australia now? And they all had that same prerequisite. Think about that. These are major commitments, major sacrifices. This wasn't something they go, "Oh, I've got to think it all through. Oh, how am I feeling about it?" No, there was an inner urging that said, "I must do this."
Amen.
And they acted on it, and now they are a better person for it. They're a more impactful person. They're going to have a more adventurous life. They're going to be cared for by more people. They're going to care for more people. They are becoming the people we always wanted to become. That person with an amazing life, with a life worth living. And then you go, "Okay, well, I'm not that spiritual. I'm not that motivated. I'm not that confident. I'm not that educated. I'm not that financially secure. I have more responsibilities. I have more debt. I don't have enough training. I'm not young anymore." David Swan, he just was appointed a minister at how old? 52?
Yeah.
53?
Minister, what kind of minister?
Evangelist.
52, yeah?
Yeah, first time in the ministry
New Jersey.
at 52.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's only a couple of years to retirement. Did it. Right? You say, "Well, you know what? I'm not a risk taker." Neither are these people. You say, "Well, they're just being irresponsible." And you're so responsible. Really? I don't see it. Matthew 4:18.
Come on, Chad.
Let's look and see what the Bible says about what we should do when we know it's the right thing to do.
Come on, bro. This is deep.
Matthew 4:18. Who wants to read that to 22?
I'll read it.
Go ahead.
Amen. Great passage. Where we got? As Jesus was walking beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Simon called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were casting a net into the lake, for they were fishermen. "Come, follow me," Jesus said, "and I will make you fishers of men." And at once they left their nets and followed him. Going on from there, he saw 2 other brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in a boat with their father Zebedee, preparing their nets. Jesus called them, and immediately they left the boat and their father and followed him.
So we always try to qualify this. Oh, they knew this was going to happen. They were locals. This was a local deal. They just didn't stop their living and follow Jesus. But it wasn't just one person that did that, it was 4. I think in another gospel, it said they left their father in the boat.
Right there it says that.
Yeah, did it say that in that one? And so this is acting on your internal prompting. And this is how Jesus' ministry began. It could have began in many ways. And guess what? These people were not apostles.
Yeah.
They were not skillful. They were not mature. They were nothing more than fishermen. They are us.
Amen. Yeah.
And chose to do something. They ruined their relationships. They ruined their living. They ruined their retirement. They ruined their way of life. Everyone thought they were crazy.
Yeah.
And it's recorded that these people impacted the world. They changed everything by being prompted, follow me. Really, they dropped their entire life and went. 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person, all the way up to 3,000 people. And the people that were converted in the beginning of the church didn't go to Jerusalem to start a movement. No, they went there because it was Pentecost. And they probably went there every year if they were close. And it was kind of one of those, some people are far away, once in a lifetime, you need to go. And 3,000 people never went home. They didn't go home, right? That's why they said they were selling stuff to take care of each other.
Amen.
Right? Because they weren't planning on it.
Right.
That's not how it happened. And that is what we need to do too.
Amen.
Jesus said, unless we give up everything, we can't be his disciples.
Correct.
So what does that mean? Well, this is an example of it. Like they had business, they had their relationship with the Father. There's another place where Jesus challenged a rich man. And he says, the guy says, what did I do to inherit salvation? And Jesus says, obey the commandments. And then he said, what else do I need to do? Like he was very confident, like self-righteous. Like I do all these things. Jesus says, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and then come follow me.
Yeah.
It says the man went away very sad, because his heart was really on his material possessions, his wealth,
Sure.
Whatever, his position, his relationships because of that. But like Peter said that, Lord, we gave up everything. And that's what they did, like we just read here.
Yep.
And Jesus didn't say, come follow me, I'll make you a nice person. Or even follow me, I'll make you right. He says, come follow me, I'll make you a fisher of men.
Yes.
A brand new purpose.
That's right.
Like our whole purpose is to save souls.
Amen.
That's right.
That's what God does want us to be righteous and godly. But our purpose ain't to be righteous and godly. We need to be, believe me, we do. But our purpose is to save souls.
Amen.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They give up everything. That's what it means to be a true Christian.
That's right.
You give up your agenda, your dreams,
Exactly.
your desires, your plans.
Yeah.
Now your dream is to seek and save the lost.
Come on, bro.
To be a fisherman.
It's awesome.
Definitely.
So you go, okay.
I had a friend in
Oh, go ahead.
Bible study that I went to, who said, because he also we're called to be good Christian, or called to be Christians. And he spoke up. He's like, the world has enough Christians. The world needs more followers.
Amen.
It's awesome.
See, that's the thing. What he was saying is disciples. That's what we do. That's our job. And the thing is, you got so many different churches and different people doing stuff out there, but they're not doing what Jesus commanded them to do.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. As a disciple, we follow Jesus, and he says, y'all make a fisher of men. We have to go out there and, like you said, save the lost. That's our job. That's to me, that's a lifestyle.
Definitely.
Well,
That's our lifestyle.
And
If it's
very
not our
important.
lifestyle, then why are we even here?
Right, because he said, go and seek and save the lost. The
Right.
most uncomfortable thing possible. And so what do? Every single thing that's more comfortable because we don't feel like it, because we have 100 reasons and 100 needs besides that singular activity that he started his ministry with, and it was the Great Commission that he gave the charge at the end of his ministry. Right? It wasn't be so spiritual. It wasn't be a good person. It wasn't be have an impact. It wasn't be a scholar. It was teach the people about me. Make a disciple. That's what he said. And it's the very thing that we tap dance around.
Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
That's exactly right. And he couldn't have said anything, but he said to do the most uncomfortable thing. But when you look at your heart, you are continually prompted to do that. Who here goes, you know what, the seeking the saving and lost isn't really for me? No. You go, I should be doing this. And then here come the thinking. Here comes the feeling. Here comes the busyness. All the reasons why. On and on and on. That's our destruction. We need to be prompted and do. Period. And it will change your life.
It's like you're saying that we need to do. It's like each of us came from different beliefs and different backgrounds. And we realized by studying the Bible that we were doing it wrong. So then we started realizing, okay, then what are we supposed to be doing? And then once we realized that Jesus says to go and make disciples, and that's what we're supposed to be doing, then we start realizing, wow. Because when I was coming over here, I was coming down, I can't remember the road I was coming down, but I was like, they were like one church next to one another. Like 3 different type of churches. And I'm like, wow, that's just dividing the community to where you can choose which church you want to go to, but not realizing that they're doing something that's wrong, and they're not understanding the real concept of what we're supposed to be doing. And that's why I'm so grateful that being convicted and being challenged to do what's right is that when you come to church and someone's challenged you to study out the scriptures and learn the right way to do it, it's just like James said. If you go stand before God and God says, this is well done, my faithful servant. Right. If we're not doing it the right way, you're not going to hear that word. That's right. Because that's the thing that really hits me. Is you're not going to hear that word if you think that you're doing it right. You're fooling yourself.
And you know that passage was really talking to Christians.
Yeah.
It's talking to the kingdom of God, to Christians. That's not talking about everybody.
Right, he's just talking to Christians.
He's talking to Christians, right?
And he's letting them know. Because if you're not doing it right, you think you was a Christian.
James said, you gotta be a follower, you gotta be a doer.
Yes.
Everybody professes in this country, basically. Everybody professes faith in Christ. Everybody says I'm a Christian, but how many actually live like a disciple of Jesus? Live like a follower of Christ.
Father, we've driven out demons in your name. And turns them away. I never knew you.
Right?
Yeah, very good, James.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that just lets you know you're not. They're like, wow, you're not even getting it.
Okay, so now we know that there are some serious life-changing goals in this room.
You need to be with us.
We know that we have all attempted these and failed. Now we know how to accomplish it.
Yes.
For real this time. Make the lasting change. So, with all of that knowledge, what is your Goliath?
Ooh.
Go ahead.
Come on, bro.
I want to have the faith that changes. Like Jesus talks about, if you have faith, you can move this mountain, nothing be impossible. Well, I'm afraid to take that step. Because I know it's a deep, deep sin in my life.
What is it?
Anger.
I'm
56, and my health isn't the best in the world, and I have a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old. And I got married when I was 43, I'm used to being single my whole life. I feel like I get angry very easily, especially when there's a lot of things going on. I got a lot of responsibility. But there's no excuse. I'm responsible.
So
Can't minimize it, can't deny it, can't make excuses.
can't make excuses.
Anger, if it's a rain, keep you out of heaven, it says.
Yep. So your Goliath is anger. What else in this room? Let's be a little vulnerable here.
Fear and insecurities. I
Security.
think I know me personally just had the insecurity of not being enough. In God's kingdom. It's like, what about if I fail?
Yes.
What about if I'm looked down on? What if I, if I can't went all the way for nothing, or just things like that? It just kind of tears you down. But it's weird because I was, for the first time, really open about this week, and I'm here wanting to get some encouraging words, and my leader that is going to be in New Zealand comes up and says, yeah, you're right, you're not good enough. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted to hear. It's like you're not enough, but God is always enough. So are you putting all your insecurities for yourself, or are you putting all that into God, and He will like take out your burden and all those things? So just kind of like stop thinking about your own emotions and your own feelings, and start being led by righteousness. Because if you are led by your emotions, it's going to be an entire roller coaster. So that's something that is definitely my huge mountain to overcome.
Yeah, your Goliath. What else? Go ahead.
Mine is, I think it's anger.
Anger.
Because I get frustrated and angry when I see things not being done right. And then it's like I want to be able to say something, but then I don't know how to say it without saying, well, get it together. It's like a frustration where I have to work on that. Where I say, we're disciples. Why are we doing this? Why are we not doing what we're supposed to do? I look around and I always say, well, these people are not giving. These people are not coming to church. They're not doing what is going on here.
Yeah.
They made this commitment, and now they're backtracking for some reason, and I don't understand.
Yep.
So it makes me frustrated, and it makes me angry to the point where I want to say something, but I don't want to say it in a way, not a loving way, but it causes me to struggle. It causes me to second guess, like, what am I doing?
Yes.
I want to be able to help people, but I'm like, we all know, like, every single person in this room became a disciple for whatever reason. They didn't like the old way they were.
Right.
So now that you're a disciple, are you going to do what you're supposed to do? Or are you just going to just say, well, now I'm in, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm just going to sit back and chill? Or are you going to go out and actually do something?
Yep.
Like you said, the disciples were fishermen. They actually changed the world by the things that they did.
That's right.
Yeah, they didn't have family, friends, and nobody really cared for them anymore because they changed. They left their family, they left their friends, they sold everything they had. And they gave up everything, like he said, gave up everything to be my disciple.
Yes.
And they did that. But then I'm like, okay, we all supposed to do that, but then we don't. So I get frustrated saying, well, the leader asks us to do something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm fired up to do it, but then I see everyone else is not fired up to do it.
Right.
Then that causes me to frustration. It causes me to say, wow, I can't be the only one willing to want to do something. Everyone else is just
I got you, bro.
Right. That's right.
So it's just anger, and I'm trying to work on not, like a brother told me, he said, don't look at what everybody else does.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Focus on what you're doing,
Amen.
because when you start looking at everybody else, you're going to start resenting what they're not doing.
That's right.
And you can't change anyone.
That's right.
They have to have their own convictions, and that started making me think a little bit more, not to look at that. But I still struggle with it. I still struggle, like, hey, this person's not doing this and this person's not doing that, but they say that they're disciples, but why are you not doing it?
Right.
Or if they don't come, I say, well, why are you not coming to a Bible talk or a midweek?
Right.
Or I'm tired.
So that is your Goliath.
Yeah.
It's the frustration,
Frustration
the inaction.
and anger, and it's just, I just struggle with that.
Mitch, what are you struggling with?
Come on, Mitch.
Laziness.
Laziness.
Wormed its way into every aspect of my life, whether it's going after a job, going after good grades in school, or even just knowing the good things that I ought to do and I don't do them. And then I deceive myself into looking at the pillow and being like, I can afford this, yeah. Or
I worked hard today.
Right.
I deserve it.
You earn laziness.
yeah. When in reality, the only thing I'm earning is a nice expense report at the end.
Yes.
Negative income and continuing insecurity, because I know the good I ought to do, and I did not do it.
So laziness is your Goliath. Anyone else?
Wow. Come on, Mitch. That was awesome.
Okay, well let's look at how the Bible deals with Goliath. So 1 Samuel 17:4 through 11. And when it talks about Goliath, put your sin in there. A champion named anger. A champion named laziness.
Wow.
A champion named insecurity. Who wants to read it? 1 Samuel 17:4 through 11. Anybody who wants to read it? I'm going to stand here until I get a reader volunteer.
My English is not very good looking.
No English.
I don't mind if somebody else wants.
Do it.
Actually, we'll do it again.
Was that 1 Samuel?
1 Samuel 17:4 through 11.
I was willing to read it. Okay, but instead of Goliath, you just put our insecurity?
Yeah.
Okay. A champion named Insecurity, who has from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He was bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze, weighing 5,000 shekels.
Wow.
On his leg, he wore bronze's greaves, right?
Mhm.
And a bronze javelin.
Yep.
Was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and its iron points weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Insecurity stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? I am not a Philistine, and you are not the servant of Saul. Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other." Till 10, right?
Till 11, yeah.
11. Okay, till 11. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and the Israelites were dismayed and terrified.
Now, I think this is the perfect description of those things that people said was their Goliath. It's big, it's menacing,
It's a lot of shields.
it has a lot of shields, it's bold, and it's asking one question. Am I going to serve you, or are you going to serve me? And until you face your Goliath, you're either on the sideline, like Saul and his army, or you're serving that. You're serving your insecurities. You're serving your anger.
Wow.
You're serving your laziness. And if you look at the pattern of your life, that's exactly what is happening. That you spend more time feeding that monster,
Wow.
or sitting on the sideline and looking at that monster, than you do overcoming it. And so, when we continue on in verse 32, David, now this is a spiritual perspective, says to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine, on account of this anger, on account of this laziness. Your servant will go and fight him." Right? That is what a spiritual person does. Oh, you've got this big thing that is paralyzing you. I'm just going to go and fight it. And then Saul replied, "You are not able to go against anger, go against laziness. You're only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword," which I think is overthinking, "and a spear," which is overfeeling, and with a javelin, which is a seeking of comfort. But I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. This day the Lord will deliver you and Mitch and Dave and Ashley and Gary and John and Raylyn will deliver you from my hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by the sword, which is thinking, or by the spear, which is feeling, that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. As the Philistine moved closer and attacked him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine's forehead. The stone, which is action, sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. This is the spiritual battle. This is how you become a new person starting tonight. And this is how you become victorious in the Lord. And that is the battle plan. All right.
Woo, come on, girl.
Very good.
Ta-da! And I finished 5 minutes early. How you doing? Yeah, that's it. Start on time, finish early.
Hey, he's a wise guy like Chris. Wow.
Yeah.